Well, welcome listeners to Paddo's first podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm sure you'll find this interesting listening for the next few minutes. Well, number one podcast. What do you talk about? This is the big question. I decided to just add some commentary on the trials and tribulations so far in course EDE20491, and that's course Information and Communication Technologies for Learning Design. Well, starting from week one, everything was going quite swimmingly for most students, I believe, as they set up their blogs and explored some basic IT. It was not until week two, when the first assessment task was due, that we saw students really start to realise that, hang on, it's week two and we already have an assessment task due. The forums and discussion boards really started to light up as students grappled to get their heads around what was required. Then we moved on to week three. We didn't really see much change. The students got over the first assessment task piece. They were quickly back in the panic stations because, sure enough, as the weekend had just passed, they were now moving on to reflection 2. This saw some great creative content from students in forms of wikis, websites and wikis. Well, it's a bit of a mouthful there with all those wikis, but I think what was great to see was students jumping straight into the deep end and tackling ICTs they'd never used or seen before or even experienced. We're now coming into week 4, which nearly took a week to get started. Thanks to Gary, kept us on hold for 15 minutes during the online lecture. Luckily, Gary figured out his microphone problems and we were back on track. Just like any electrical devices, the best results often come from the old switch back off and on again. So most students are now finishing off week 4's reflection, which I think we'll see some really good content again as students tackle different media devices and examine these through the use of SAMR model, which of course stands for substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. I suppose I should give you a quick summary on how I created this podcast. Well, first I downloaded Audacity and had a bit of a muck around with that, and then I also tried to download Jam Tracks to add some tunes into start and finish, but it kept failing every time I downloaded that product. So I just chucked in a bit of a in excess intro, so we'll have to reference that obviously in my appendix because I don't want to breach any copyrights there on the in excess voice. And that's basically it, and just put it together on Audacity. Yet to still try and upload it to the blog this week, so I can't really tell you how I've done that one yet because I haven't done it. So anyhow, listeners, I think that's a wrap, and I hope you enjoyed the breakdown of ICTs for learning design over the last few weeks. Signing out from your fellow comrade, Paddo's podcast.